Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, classmates. Our topic for today is about the function and philosophical perspective on art. So when someone speaks of function, one is practically talking about the use of the object whose function is in question. So kapag pinag-usapan natin yung function ng isang artwork is una nating pag-uusapan dun is kung ano ba yung function nito and kung ano yung purpose nito. And an inquiry on the function of art is an inquiry on what art is for. So ang katanungan daw po sa function ng art is kung para saan daw po ba yung art na yon. And when it comes to function, different art forms comes with distinctive function. So sa function naman daw po, merong kada iba-ibang distinctive, pag sinabi natin distinctive or meron siyang iba-ibang function or kada function is may kanya-kanya siyang function. So there is one-to-one correspondence between art and its function. Some art forms are more functional than others. For example, architecture as an art is highly functional, just like most applied arts. So, a building as a work of art is highly made for specific purposes.
Art can generally classifying into two: directly functional art and indirectly functional art. Directly functional arts, these are the art that we use in our daily basis and serve as literal or tangible functions in our lives, such as tools, architectural structures, roads, bridges, buildings, furniture, kitchen utensils, coins, bills, dress, weapons, and etc. Directly functional arts, these are the arts that perceives through the senses, such as fine arts, paintings, music, sculpture, dance, literary piece, theatrical performance, and the like. So, from the definition itself, the directly functional arts, ito lang yung ginagamit natin or nagagamit natin sa araw-araw. And indirectly functional arts, these are the art that perceives through our senses. Although di natin ito nagagamit sa araw-araw, meron itong naidudulot na magandang bagay. Example, music. Music can relieve our stress. Function of arts. We have three function of arts: personal function of arts, social function of arts, physical function of arts. Let's define personal function of art. The personal function of art are varied and highly subjective. Function depends on the artist who created the art. An artist may create an art out of self-expression, entertainment, or therapeutic purpose. So, in the personal function of art, para mas madali nating maintindihan, the perspective of the artist is different to the perspective of the viewers. And it is subjective, meaning pwede pa rin itong mabago. Social function of arts. Art is considered to have social function if and when it addresses a particular collective interest as opposed to a personal interest. Art may convey message of protest, contestation, or whatever message the artist intended his work to carry. Political art is a very common example of an art with its social functions. Art can also depict social conditions such as a photography or the pictures of a poverty. Performance arts like plays or satires can also rouse emotions and rally people toward a particular end. So in social function of arts, the main goal or objective of the artist is he or she wants to express or to open our minds or to make us aware of what is happening in our society or what are the problems in our society. Physical function of arts. This art fulfills and satisfies man's need. The physical function of arts are often the easiest to understand. This the work of art that are created to perform some service have physical functions. Example, a Japanese raku bowl. It is art that performs physical function in the tea ceremony. Architectures of any crafts and industrial designs are types of art that have physical function. So, para mas madali, ito yung klase ng mga arts na ginawa para gamitin natin.
Other function of art: aesthetic function, cultural function, political function, religious function, economic function. Okay, let's define the aesthetic function. An art will function aesthetically when it becomes instrumental for to be cognizant of beauty of nature. where the real feelings of joy, appreciation to nature, beauty, and manifested throughout appreciation of enjoyment with contact with the artwork. So, dito naman sa aesthetic function, mas ma-appreciate natin yung beauty of nature if you have contact in arts, resemble that beauty of nature. Then, the cultural function. Art serves an aperture toward skill, knowledge, attitude, customs, and tradition different groups of people. The art helps preserve, share that transmit culture, people from generation to another. In culture function, give an example. If you still remember painting of Fernando Amorsolo, yung Afternoon Meal of the Rice Worker. This painting showed the beauty of simplicity of culture, especially in the province. Political function. To reinforce and enhance sense of identify the illogical connection of specific political views, parties, and people. So in political function, the art has always have connection in politics. Example, campaign art, politician promoting in political agenda. Religious function. Almost all form art involved from religion. So in religious function, all arts show us express the religion. Example, Sistine Chapel, ceiling of Michelangelo. Economic function. People believe it's that's not pay to be an artist. Because in reality, there are fewer people who appreciate artwork, and people are only focused on their own lives. That's why there are only few artists who makes art from living, and usually other artists only have art as their hobby.
So let's go on answering the question, does art always have to be functional? So for us, it has been shown that most arts are functional. Still, there are some which are not. The value of work of art does not depend on the function but on the work itself. Not all products of art have function. This should not disqualify them as art, though nevertheless, a function object cannot be claimed to be beautiful unless it can perform its function sufficiently. So, ang ano po dito is, hindi daw po lahat ng arts is functional. Hindi daw po dapat na always ang art is functional. Kasi meron pong art na non-functional din po. For example, yung paintings, yung sculpture it is used, or ang ano niya lang is for display or for aesthetic purposes. So on the other hand, there is some function why we can call the art always have a function. So we have for individual function, communication function, educational function, and artistic function. So art as an individual function refers to individual needs. So ano ba yung mga needs natin? Ano ba yung needs ng mga tao? So in this case, art is divided in the fulfillment of physical and emotional needs. In communication function naman, art is used as a communication or as a medium of social criticism through the media of art. Art is also used for communication such as poster, sketch, and others. So yung sa communication naman daw po is yung halimbawa, yun nga pong sa paintings or posters. So it conveys such messages to us. So art in educational function has a very important role such as the introduction of national and regional songs. Art also functions as illustration image contained in textbook, documentary films, and others. So sa naman po educational function is ito yung mga arts na nagbibigay sa atin ng mga aral or teaching sa buhay. While in the artistic function, the art produced serves to be enjoyed by the artist himself and the community. In the life of art also functions, the life of art also works in away from stress and turn attention to alternative views and perspective that are often overlooked. Art energizes and help remind us to escape the chronic daily hassle. So doon naman po sa artistic function is yung para po ba sa painting is kapag tinitingnan po natin siya is parang nakakapag-relax po tayo. So nagbibigay po siya ng peace of mind. So punta naman po tayo sa philosophical perspective on arts. So ang una po is art as an imitation. So according to Plato, artists are imitators and art is just mere imitations. The thing in this world are only copies of original, the eternal and the true entities that can only be found in the world of forms. So for Plato daw po, art is just an imitation or imitation of reality. So they are not actually true. So for Plato po, he is more idealistic. He is more more into idealism. So pag sinabi po natin idealism, everything that exists in the minds in the only true form and outside the mind is not true. So the theory of forms or theory of ideas is Plato's argument that non-physical forms or ideas represents the most accurate reality. So ang ibig sabihin po nito, in the theory of forms or the theory of ideas, the non-physical forms or the ideas that we are actually talking is the only true and everything that we see outside of our mind. So outside the idea itself is not true. So they represent the most accurate reality. So a form is an object or blueprint of perfection. The form are perfect themselves because they are unchanging. So halimbawa po, let's say we have a triangle drawn on a blackboard. A triangle is a polygon with 3 sides. The triangle as it is on the blackboard is far from perfect. So di ba po pag nagdrawing tayo ng triangle, hindi naman po ibig sabihin na perfect na siya. So parang ini-imitate lang po natin yung perfect na drawing ng triangle na idinodraw natin sa blackboard. So hindi po ibig sabihin na yung sino-show is triangle is lahat po siya perfect sides. So however, it is only the illegibility of the form of triangle that allows us to know the drawing on the chalkboard is a triangle. And the form triangle is perfectly unchanging. It is exactly the same whenever anyone chooses to consider it. Plato was deeply suspicious of arts and artists for 2 reasons. So ang una po is they appeal to the emotions rather than to the rational faculty of men. So ang ibig sabihin po nito is, para kay Plato, a man should be rational in nature. Everything should have reasons ideally, but in art, we sometimes do not go with the reality. Kasi nga po, we appeal to the emotion we see. We try to symbolize something. We try to associate a certain emotion on the art piece and on the process of creating the art piece. And the second one is they imitate rather than lead one to reality. In the second suspicion of Plato, he was idealistic in nature. He sees art as an imitation because we only try to imitate or we only show. So the artist on their time was actually trying to impress the masses. That's why the art piece of the work of art during those times are very aesthetic in nature. And sometimes, they are beyond the reality or they change the view on the reality which is misleading according to Plato. So these 2 reasons why Plato was very suspicious. The second philosophical perspective on art is art as a representation. So Aristotle agreed with Plato that art is a form of imitation. However, Aristotle considered art as an aid to philosophy in revealing the truth. The kind of imitation that art does it not antithetical to the reaching of fundamental truth in the world. So pag ang ibig sabihin po ng antithetical is yung parang nagko-contradict siya or nag-o-oppose. So ang ano niya po is hindi daw nagko-contradict yung pag-i-imitate in reaching of fundamental truths in the world. So unlike Plato, who thought that art is an imitation of another imitation, Aristotle conceived of art as representing possible version of reality. So yung kahit po yung agree siya dun sa ni Plato is ang iniisip niya is yung yung imitation na yun is inire-represent niya yung possible version ng reality. So for Aristotle, all kind of art do not aim to represent reality as it is. It endeavors to provide a version of what might be or myriad possibilities of reality. So, in Aristotelian worldview, art serves 2 particular purposes. So ang una po doon is art allows for the experience of pleasure or horrible experience can be made an object of humor. So ang ibig sabihin po nito is yung yung artist, yung niya, horrible experience niya. For example po sa painting, yung parang doon niya yung inilalabas yung horrible experience na yun para makapag-made siya ng object of humor. So the second one is art also has an ability to instructive and teaching its audience thing about life or cognitive. So dito naman po is for example po yung mga advertisements, yung mga educational advertisements po na pinapalabas sa TV na nakakakuha po tayo ng aral. And also po yung mga novels, books na nagbibigay po sa atin ng teaching sa buhay.
Art is a distrusted judgment. Immanuel Kant, he is the critic of judgment, considered the judgment of beauty, the cornerstone of arts, as something that can be universal, despite it subjectively. In Kant, critic of judgment, he considered the judgment of beauty and the cornerstone of arts, na pangkalahatan, sabi ng pagiging subjective nito. Recognize that judgment of beauty is subjective. For Kant, the judgment of beauty of arts is very subject, or it's based on influence by one's personal feelings, tastes, or opinions. However, even subject judgment are based on some universal criterion for the said judgment. But those subjective judgment were also based on some universal criterion. Sa madaling sabi, ang mga masasabing pansariling judgment ay based rin sa judgment ng nakakarami. When we say universal criterion, ito yung pangkalahatan standard ng pagbibigay ng judgment or criticism or sa isang bagay. Two statements are different. I like the painting is beautiful. The first is clearly a judgment of taste, subjective, while the second is an aesthetic judgment, objective. Making an aesthetic judgment requires us to be disoriented. In other words, we should try to go beyond our individual taste and preference so that we can appreciate art from universal standpoint. It's a communication of emotion. According to Leo Tolstoy, art plays huge role in communication to its audience emotions that arts previously experienced. Halimbawa na lamang nito ay ang mga paintings. May mga paintings na malaki ang magiging impact sa mga pakakita nito on how they interpret the message of the painting. Lalo na yung mga paintings na nagpapakita ng deep emotion ng artist. In the same that language communicates information to other people, art communicates emotions. Katulad ng language na ginagamit natin to communicate information sa ibang tao, ang art ay tulad din ng language. Halimbawa, nagpaint ka ng isang artwork na ang tema ay malungkot. So, ang makakuha mong information or ang mapaperceive nilang message ng painting mo ay yung feelings mo na malungkot. Yun ang ginagamit natin to share our feelings to sa ibang tao. Fervor of man, innermost feelings and thoughts, arts is given unique opportunity to serve as a mechanism of social unity. Unity is about separate part working together in composition. In artwork, unity creates a sense of harmony and wholeness by using similar elements and placing them in a way that creates a feeling of oneness. Variety adds interest by using juxtaposition and contrasting elements with the composition. Art is a central man's existence because it makes accessible feelings and emotions of people from past and present. Kahit noon dati pa, ginagamit na ng mga tao ang arts to share our feelings, emotion, and thoughts sa ibang tao.